In September, the People's Daily, the Chinese Communist Party-run media, reported that more than 10,000 people went to high-risk countries during C-19 after being vaccinated with China's Sinopharm vaccine, with no reported side effects or infections. With this information, China has exported its vaccines to countries where Wuhan pneumonia has caused severe damage. 1 million doses of vaccines to Brazil and 1.2 million doses to Indonesia. And many Chinese think that the vaccines made in China are among the best in the world in terms of the quality, even though they haven't yet completed the clinical phase 3 study. And this was possible because the Sinopharm vaccine was advertised in the Chinese media to get self-applause. Hu Xijin, editor-in-chief of the Global Times, also encouraged the use of the Chinese vaccine with the following remarks. If I have to choose between a Chinese or an American vaccine, I would prefer the Chinese vaccine. Not because of patriotism, I really think the Chinese vaccine is much safer than others. However, a few days ago, there was a shocking report that could potentially change your view of the Chinese vaccine. On 15th, according to Radio Free Asia, a number of infections were identified involving Chinese workers sent overseas after receiving the Sinopharm vaccine and still infected with Wuhan pneumonia. Also, with a WeChat conversation, article reported about the Chinese company in Angola that only recently discovered that 16 people got infected and 3 of them were confirmed to be got Chinese vaccine. Local Chinese Mr. Yu said about the current situation. Infected people with the Chinese vaccines have been unable to say anything because they fear retaliation or bullying from others. The infection cases which were found outside are the tip of the iceberg. In addition, the Chinese embassy says Chinese workers infected in overseas were infected because they failed to comply with vaccination regulations and procedures. The country hands over the all responsibility for the infection that occurred after vaccination to individuals. Mr. Yu also speaks about the reality of Chinese workers staying abroad. Local hospitals are also refusing to take care of them, and Chinese workers infected overseas are not getting any measures at all. Every 400 employees of Tianjin Electric Power Corporation who sent to work in Eastern Europe city of Pančevosi in Serbia received the Chinese vaccines before leaving China. But as many as 300 of them were reported to have been infected, proving that the Chinese vaccine is not working at all. In their conversation between the staff and Chinese worker, he answered the question, "Why did you go to work in such a C-19 hazardous area? I thought I wouldn't get infected if I got a Chinese vaccine, but it happened." Since then, Tianjin Electric Power Construction started canceling the case by deleting a company project involving Chinese workers from its website. Sinopharm, which manufactured the vaccine, also rejected media requests about this issue. Peru, on the 14th, one of the participants in the Sinopharm vaccination clinical trial suffered from pain and paralysis in his limbs, known as Guillain-Barré syndrome. Also, Brazil's health regulator has suspended the large, late-stage trial of an experimental C-19 vaccine by Chinese developer Sinovac following the death of the volunteer. Even Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Sen, a leading pro-Chinese country in Southeast Asia, said on December 15th, "Cambodia is neither a trash can nor a vaccine laboratory. We will use only internationally recognized vaccines." Dr. Li Menyang, a virus expert at Hong Kong University who fled to the US, explained the internal situation in China. She said that many people in China are going to hospitals for treatment because of the serious side effects of the vaccination. There are currently 14 vaccines in clinical trials in China, 5 of which have entered the phase 3 trials. However, none of the test results were published in international stage. And more shockingly, for some of these vaccines, the first stage of animal testing has been skipped and human testing has started straight away. Dr. Li Menyang uploaded a cartoon related to this. In the picture, rats were talking to each other. "Are you going to be vaccinated?" And another replied, "Are you crazy? The experiments on humans are not yet completed." It was also recently revealed that Hong Kong citizens were protesting the news that the Hong Kong government will import 1 million doses of Chinese vaccines. and for counteracting vaccination displeasure, an incentive was created. Hong Kong lawmakers proposed providing a cash incentive of up to 5,000 Hong Kong dollar to encourage citizens to get vaccinated against C-19 once the first million doses become available early next year. There was also a startling development in this context. The Chinese authority caused a stir by buying 100 million doses of Pfizer vaccine for those who do not trust the Chinese vaccines. There are currently 97 million Communist Party members in China. The Chinese pharmaceutical company Shanghai Fosun Pharmaceutical announced on the 16th that it will bring 100 million doses of BioNTech's vaccine. And this BioNTech is the Pfizer vaccine developed in collaboration with Pfizer. To hide the fact that the vaccine is a foreign vaccine, Chinese media reports that it was jointly developed by Fosun Pharmaceutical and BioNTech. Some Chinese media even claim in their reports that this vaccine is 100% made by Fosun Pharmaceutical. After this, Chinese internet users who previously sworn by Chinese vaccines reacted angrily to the news of vaccine imports. Does the Chinese vaccine really work? Why are you importing vaccines from abroad when we have vaccines in China? Senior officials may be given foreign vaccines. One internet user criticized the Chinese vaccine, citing the result of the fake baby replacement milk that caused the babies to have swollen heads that year in China. Don't brag about Chinese vaccines. We know that high-ranking Chinese officials will use the foreign vaccines. Like rich people, they buy foreign baby replacement milk rather than the product made from China. What do you think about this? Thanks for watching and comments, also your likes. Be safe.